Alright, what is going on, my dudes? We're back here today in the makeshift studio once again to talk about the newest champion entering MCOC. We have Kushala today, a new Ghost Rider. Pretty darn freaking exciting things, man. So, Kushala is a very interesting champion. She has some very unique things going on. We're gonna jump into all of it today. We're gonna break it down. It's gonna be a bit of a quicker video because she goes very fast. Her damage gets up there. So all the fights I'm gonna be showing you today are quite fast, alright? So, let's start jumping into it today. Of course, she is a Ghost Rider, right? She's got the connection to the Spirit of Vengeance. She's immune to bleed. She's immune to incinerate effects, okay? All of her attacks deal energy damage, so like if you have a Korg in front of you, you could fight Korg without having to worry about anything whatsoever, okay? Medium attacks, no thorns, nothing like that, all right? Her combat power rate is reduced by 20%, very mystic type thing, all right? And also, personal damaging effects from her special attacks are paused during her special attacks, okay? But we'll get into those in a little bit. So, the Hunter of Might. So her light attack, she's kind of like a modern day version of Dr. Voodoo in a way. Her light attacks have a 40% chance to place an indefinite ignition buff on the opponent, okay? This is supposed to have a glossary that says this does nothing, ignition is only fuel. It's in the deep dive if you want to see it. Hopefully that gets fixed. But yeah. Basically, you use your light attacks, you place buffs on the opponent, and then you explode them later on. We'll go over how to do that. So, the chance increases by a flat 20% if the opponent is soul barbed, and the ignitions, they go up to 10 stacks. Soul barbs on the special too, so once you like get rolling in the fight, you keep rolling, you keep doing things faster. That's how she works, alright? Now, she's an interesting mystic because she does not benefit from the Mystic Dispersion Mastery, so basically, when your buff expires on like Alliance War defense or Battlegrounds defense, she won't gain any power. However, when you gain a buff, not when it expires, alright? When you gain a buff, she's going to passively gain 2% of her max power, but with Mystic Dispersion, with every rank, alright, that's going to increase by 10%, okay? So, there's still the threat of, like, the buff being there, but when it expires, not as much. So, it just kind of makes it, like, earlier, which might be worse. Enjoy. All right, Blessing of the Eagle. She has blessings, and these blessings are pretty powerful. They do different things, okay? You gain a Blessing of Wisdom when either champion performs a well-timed block, and when you have this Blessing of Wisdom, you can block unblockable special attacks from non-science champions, and also passively regenerate 25% of the damage taken from blocked hits, kind of like Sorcerer Supreme does, all right? The Blessing of Justice happens when either champion is struck by a heavy attack. Keep in mind, that's either champion. So when you're fighting Kushala and you parry heavy her, you're going to give her 2 blessings, okay? Now, when either champion is struck by the first hit of a heavy attack, making the opponent more aggressive with the Blessing of Justice is kind of like an infuriate effect in a way, okay? Kind of like a passive infuriate, or like the nano swarm on future Ant-Man type of thing, all right? So it makes the opponent more aggressive, and it increases the potency of her damaging effects from her special attacks by 10%, all right? Now that stacks up to 3 times, okay? Now, Blessing of Power. When either champion intercepts their opponent, you increase the ability power rate that you gain when the opponent gains a buff, all right, by 15%, and you also reduce the opponent's ability power rate by the same amount, so that's up to 45%. That's not really doing too much for you, but it will be nice for like Hyperion and Adam Warlock, right? Specifically like I guess Arcus as well. Some cosmic champions who have that passive power gain, but she's not going to be like the best for like, you know, old Node 54 Mangog and Alliance War where like the power gain's out of control, right? This is kind of like for like Battlegrounds if there's like an Adam Warlock or a Hyperion or an Arcus on defense. I don't really see Arcus in Battlegrounds too much, but he is a 7-star now, so maybe he'll like start coming around more often. Who knows? We'll have to see. But just in general, even in like questing, right? Arcus, power gain, boom. Pretty darn good. All right? Now, this is very, very important. When activating a blessing, while both other blessings have more active stacks. That sounds kind of confusing in wording, but let's just say you have 2 blue ones, 2 red ones, and 1 yellow one, okay? If you activate the yellow one, because the other 2 are higher, you're going to pause all blessings for 3 seconds, okay? Now, these blessings are not affected by ability accuracy. Each blessing lasts for 12 seconds, plus an additional 15 seconds flat. That's a long time. That's more than double if activated while either champion is performing or recovering from a special attack, okay? Now, this seems really good on paper, and it is really good in reality. However, 1,000,000% unnecessary, and I'm going to show and prove that to you today in this video, all right? So you don't have to worry about that, because this effectively like takes her skill cap from being like around here and moves it up to here. If I say to you, you always have to intercept with specials, if you have to parry specials, if you have to counter specials with heavy attacks, if you can do that, if you're super duper skilled, I enjoy doing that when I play her, right? But like, you know if you're one of those players who's going to be doing that, right? If you're a Crossbones player, if you're a Tiger player, and you're used to this, enjoy it. You know what to do, all right? For everyone else, you don't have to do this. That's very important, because people are going to see that line and be like, oh, God, she's one of those champs. She's one of those champs I'm never going to get the hang of. I'm just not going to try her. Ignore it. You don't have to do it. There's really no scenario where you need an additional 15 seconds on these, because the thing is, if the blessings go away, she's not really one of those champs where, like, you know, let's say you're using Shuri in like Abyss and all your shocks go away. It's like, oh, now I have to start over. Yeah, well, you have to start over with Kushala, but it takes like literally 10 seconds, right? So I say don't worry about that. Okay, now, the ability accuracy of Kushala's personal effects and the parry mastery is increased by 35% each for each unique blessing active, so that goes up to 105%. This is very specifically really good for Adam Warlock, because you can parry him, okay? Because the way that Adam Warlock's parry reduction works is it reduces the parry mastery ability accuracy by 100%. So you're able to parry him when you have your blessings active, which is nice. And of course, it's just nice to have additional ability accuracy in case there's ability accuracy reduction and stuff like that. So, special 1. On the final hit, each buff on the opponent has a 50% chance to be nullified, and for each buff nullified, inflict an incinerate debuff, dealing over 10,000 energy damage over 18 seconds, okay? Now, you inflict an additional 4 incinerates if the opponent is soul barbed or degenerating. Now, I know I was just like, yeah, so this is good for Adam Warlock. It's also really good for this, okay? So, perfect view right here. When your ability accuracy of your unique blessings, right, 35, 70, 105, and you have a 50% chance for all the buffs to be nullified on the opponent here, the ability accuracy goes into that, right? So the more blessings that you have a stronger chance to nullify all of the buffs on the opponent, as opposed to just 50%, if that makes sense, all right? So her whole kit works together really nicely, and it's a lot easier when you're actually watching the fights. All right, special attack 2. The final hit consumes 30% of the ignition buffs on the opponent to inflict a soul barb debuff for 15 seconds, max stacks 3, and the duration is increased by 0.75 seconds for each buff consumed and for each incinerate effect on the opponent. So once you get rolling and you have a lot of incinerates, right, that's going to like really extend the duration of the soul barb, which is really nice to have. And then for the special 3, you gain 1 stack of each blessing, and you place an indefinite judgment on the opponent, increasing the duration of Kushala's future blessings by 4 seconds each. This is going to be nice for like longer fights, and that maxes out at 3 stacks of 12 seconds. And for each active blessing, you inflict a degen debuff, dealing direct damage over 8 seconds, max stacks of 9, because you can have 9 blessings, all right? So that is Kushala. I feel like she's a little wordy, but she's a little bit more simple in practice, all right? And let's go over the SIG ability really quick. I don't believe she needs the SIG ability, in my opinion, to be useful for what you want to use her for, okay? But basically, she loses the benefit of the Despair Mastery when she's awakened, which is interesting because her debuffs kind of like turn into passives with the SIG ability as well. We'll go over that in just a second. But yeah, basically, all of her like damaging effects like kind of count as debuffs instead of like Despair with debuffs countering healing and stuff like that, all right? But more importantly, the pause for activating the blessing with the fewest stacks lasts for an additional up to 5 seconds longer, which is definitely nice. But also, Kushala's damaging debuffs, which is her soul barb and her incinerate and her degen, have up to a 9% chance for each active blessing, and you can have 9, okay? To be replaced with matching passives with 20% increased potency, which is definitely nice. nice. And this chance is doubled against Cosmic Champions. So you really do want to use her most of all for Cosmics, right? So even at like a lower sig, you have a really strong possibility of having mostly passives there against Cosmic Champions, which is really nice. So let's start jumping into some fights here, okay? So here we have this Drax on the CCP beta for the champion map and everything. This is how I like to play her. I like to go parry heavy, gain 2 blessings right away, right? Maybe go for that again, and then I'll start doing some intercepts here, right? Bam! And look at that pause. Look at that nice pause. I'm going for my light attacks here, and the light attacks, they are going to be placing those ignition buffs. I'm going to be going for a special one. We're about 20 seconds into the fight, and look at this. He's melting at 11,000 damage per second. Go for another special one, and we're at like 16,000 damage per second. Now, I want you to notice, I didn't do the parrying the specials, the heavy countering the specials, the intercepting with the special attacks. I'll show you what that looks like here, and you're gonna see in a shorter fight, which in my opinion is where you really want to use her most of all. It's unnecessary. It's unnecessary, all right? So watch this. We're baiting out the special one here from Drax. We're gonna parry it. And we go to heavy counter as well, but he dashes back. That's fair, though. That's fair, right? It happens. It happens. It happens. But that one we can counter with the heavy attack. Go for another one. Gonna intercept with the special. Okay. Gonna get a soul barb on him now. That's doing some decent damage, but notice it's actually doing less damage than if I would have just, like, comboed up to special one. All right? There. We tried to parry that. We missed it. We got the heavy attack, though. And he's dead. And it was good. Which one looked more efficient? The first one did. Now listen, there are certain fights for sure where it's going to be easier. Hulkling special 2, parry that thing. You could block the unblockable specials. Parry that thing. Heavy counter that thing. You just like, it's one of those things where if it's not right there readily available for you, don't chase it. Don't force it. Okay? Don't force it. You don't have to force it. If it happens, it happens. And it's more beneficial if it happens, but you don't have to force it, all right? So now this Drax has 711,000 health, all right? So now he's being a little bit of a jerk here. He's just not playing around. I'm like, dude, just let me intercept you, bro. Okay, there we go, right? So what we want to do here is with a bit of a longer health pool, I'm going to go for a special 2 first, get the soul barb up, right? So we get some more incinerates, and I'm going to kind of cycle special 2 and nice, ignore that. I'm going to kind of cycle special 2 and special 1 here, right? So here we're going to put the soul barb on the opponent, okay? Now, we're going to go ahead and go for the special 1 at this point when we have all of our ignition buffs ready. There we go. Bam. Pew. 15 incinerates. All right. We're doing about 20,000 damage per second here, which is kind of insane, right? Now, if we go for a special 2 again, remember, for every ignition buff consumed and every incinerate on the opponent, the next soul barb that we place on the opponent is going to have a very, very long duration, okay? So he's just melting at the end of the day, right? And that was almost 1,000,000 health, which is kind of just insane. So let's take it a step further. I'm not going to jump into the labyrinth, not going to do anything stuff like that, but this is a Groot. All right, and it has 5.2 million health. All right, so this is like a target matchup for her in like an Everest type content. So let's say Necropolis rolls around and there's a Cosmic Champion with lots of buffs or something like that, right? Well, maybe Kushala could have some play in there. Who knows, right? Maybe future Eternity of Pain type stuff, there's a really big evil King Groot, and she's going to be really good for it. Who knows? We'll have to see. But as you can see right here, Groot has a lot of buffs, and he's going to say, I am Groot. He's going to gain them. We have all 9 blessings active, and we're going to go for the special 3 here. This is going to place 9 degens on the opponent. That's doing a very respectable 13,000 damage per second. And now, 32 incinerates. What? 40,000 damage per second from just the incinerates, and also we had the degen going. We're gonna go for a special one again. Bam! 45 incinerates. Get out of here. We're doing 60,000 damage per second. We can block the unblockable special, all right? And now, look at this. We're gonna go for the soul barb with all of those incinerates and all of those buffs. It is never falling off. That is insane. Go for a special one again. 68 incinerates. What is going on here? That's crazy. Reminder, this is 5 million health, and we're just spamming specials. I don't have Mystic Dispersion on. I don't believe I do, right? And look at what's going on here, man. We got 2 soul barbs. We have all these incinerates. We're spamming specials like it's nobody's business. We have our stuff paused. We're not going crazy with special intercepting, with parrying specials, with heavying after specials. We're just throwing our special attacks, and look at those red numbers. It's actually kind of insane. She is a bonkers attacker, dude. We have 55 incinerates, 3 soul barbs going on. It's just kind of nuts. And look, our blessings are falling off, right? Are we losing this fight? No, we're not. The blessings are falling off. We're just putting them back on. It doesn't really matter. It's not that big of a deal. We're just taking advantage of the buffs, and we're having a really good time, all right? So look, 5 million health, done in 2 minutes. It's not bad, guys. It's just not bad at the end of the day, right? So let's jump into some more practical settings here. This is Drax in like Act 7.1. This is like unlimited power Drax. Drax is always going to be relevant, especially as a cosmic defender, right? He's very easy to intercept, which is really, really nice. You know, you can get that the double aggressive thing, and also we have the rock field aggression as well, which is really, really nice. But what we're going to do here against this Drax is we're going to try to give him a few more buffs from the unlimited power, and then we're going to use those Furies to our advantage with the Soul Barb, and we're going to let them build up and then go for a big special 1 finish right here. So watch how fast this was. Absolutely insane. We didn't even nullify all the buffs here, but look at this. That was so fast, man. 400,000 health. Now, let's say you're using her in Battlegrounds, right? I feel like Battlegrounds attack, in my opinion, is where she's going to really excel. Maybe War as well. But honestly, I mean, look at how she's shredding these health pools, dude. It feels like in the right matchup, she's going to be great pretty much anywhere. But, you know, for me, it's like in Battlegrounds, I see like a Gore on defense. Game over. This is a 6-star rank 1 Kushala, okay? And we're gonna blow things up here. Unduped, rank 1, just to show you here. Like, watch. Okay? Nullify all of his buffs here. He uses the special 1. He gains 3 more buffs. And then we just keep that cycle going. She's very, very, very solid against Gore. She's very, very solid against Hulkling, right? 2 of the most premier cosmic defenders, in my opinion. Of course, we just saw a big Drax, right? We saw Groot, who, of course, is the worst defender in the entire game. You really need to counter to Groot. But yeah, one thing against Hulkling that you have to really keep in mind here is if you nullify his indestructible buff, you're not going to have a great time, okay? So he's going to go indestructible for longer, so you don't want that to happen. But as you can see here, we can go for the Soul Barb, and he has a lot of buffs, so that Soul Barb is going to be doing some juicy damage. And of course, this is a rank 1 6-star Kushala there, so the damage is not going to be looking as good as the rank 5 Kushala or the 7-star rank 2 Kushala, but you can go ahead and multiply that by like a lot, and that's how much it would be, right? But as you can see, if the 6-star rank 1 is getting through like rank 4, rank 5 versions rather quickly, you can imagine that your ranked up Kushala is going to get through a small Battlegrounds health pool very quickly. When it comes to synergies, she has like some damaging effects on Ghost Rider and Cosmic Ghost Rider go up by 10%, but that's actually good for Kushala, which is nice. And of course, Cosmic Ghost Rider is definitely a decent champion to bring on the team. Activating a special attack 3 grants a non-stacking 10% amplify passive for 15 seconds. Cool. Not the biggest deal there. Fire cleanses, incinerate effects are 15% more potent. That's actually going to be really nice for long shot, dude. Kind of for Masakre and Phoenix as well. Sunspot doesn't really use the incinerates for damage, more so for currency, but still could be nice. But that actually, Kushala doesn't get that benefit. But Kushala gets for each damaging effect on the opponent, heavy attacks deal extra damage equal to 5% of her base attack, which is actually not too bad, because those can get up there, like at the Groot matchup. And then first, the first time Danny would restructure against a combo shield passive, cool. Shield can block unblockable special attacks while she has a lot of cleanse, cool. And Kushala, Blessings of Power, reduce the opponent's ability power rate by an additional 10% each, which is definitely kind of nice. Alright, so that is Kushala. It's how she works. It's her in some nice target matchups, how to play her, a nice breakdown, all that fun stuff. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I think she's pretty cool. I'm a big fan of Ghost Riders. You guys might know OG Ghost Rider was my first ever 5-star. I used the hell out of that guy. Cosmic Ghost Rider is a super fun time, so I'm super excited for Kushala to enter the game as well. I think she's a great addition. That's it for this one. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and let me know what you think about Kushala, man. She does a lot of damage, and damage is fun. So yeah, I'll be seeing you around.